Hey guys, what's going on? Today I'm going to do a comparison between AlgoPro and Infinity Algo. And so many people have been asking me to do this, and it's not as easy as it sounds. It's actually a pretty complicated thing to compare these two, and I'm going to talk about that in this video. Before I get started, I just want to remind you guys that one of my favourite services is Nate Bear's Profit Surge Trader. Nate took $37,000, turned it into $2.7 million in 4 years, and now he's running a service where he alerts one or two picks every Monday, and it's fantastic. It's been really good. In quarter one, he basically didn't have any losing trades for the core main trades that he alerts. Quarter two's been a little bit more mixed, but it's still profitable overall. So I love the service. Make sure you check out the description below. I'll put a link to my full review, which has a track record in there as well. So definitely check that out. Alright, so I've been getting so many questions from people that are basically saying which one is better, Algo Pro or Infinity Algo. And so I thought I'd try and do some sort of comparison today, give you an idea of roughly the features on both and how accurate the signals are. So this is really complicated though, because there's so many different time frames, so many different settings, so many different things to consider when you're comparing two algos like this, and it's almost impossible to say this one is better. So let's just start off with showing you the two algos. The one that you're looking at on the screen right now is AlgoPro version 1.4, so they just released this, and it's pretty good. So you can see the signals that are shown here are on the 5-minute chart. I'm just going to use this as a basis to show you both algos, right? So I'm just going to keep SPY on 5 minutes, just look at this random segment, which is over the last nearly month on the time scale on the bottom down here. So you're looking at AlgoPro version 1.4. If I add Infinity Algo, you'll see those signals pop up, and the way to differentiate is the boxes are much bigger and paler than AlgoPro. So if we look at these two buy signals, you can compare those. So I'm just going to hide Infinity Algo. So this is AlgoPro, and then this is AlgoPro plus Infinity Algo. So you can see that there's other signals pop up. Those are the, like here's the smart cell. This is the Infinity Algo version of AlgoPro's cell. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. So I'll get into more details of comparing these signals in a minute, but let's just take a quick look at each one individually. So this is AlgoPro version 1.4. It's actually really nice. It's very simple. And one thing I want to point out is they have these presets. So somebody made a comment about the signals and how many signals you get on the charts, right? And you can adjust these manually. So you can get the sensitivity and you change it and you get more or less signals. So that's what makes it hard to compare, because you can optimize yourself manually to get better signals, like less frequent signals that have a higher chance of winning. And so it's very difficult. So the only fair way to do this, and I really like the fact that AlgoPro version 1.4 has put this in, is you just have to set it to like their preset optimized settings. So you can see how it says universal 5 minutes. That's what they consider to be AlgoPro optimized on the 5 minute. So that makes it easier for me to compare signals, because I can just set them both to the default. So for AlgoPro, it's set to universal 5 minutes. And that's what you're looking at on the chart right now. I've hidden Infinity Algo, so you're just looking at AlgoPro. Now, AlgoPro version 1.4 has a backtesting. It's down the bottom right here. The problem is, it's not exactly thorough backtesting. So you can see that it gives you the number of trades, and it gives you the number of wins, and it gives you the target percentage. So out of all these alerts on the 5 minute time frame, 51% have been winners. They've hit the first profit target, and then 36% have hit profit target 2. So this is all fine and well, right? This is useful, but as we all know, win rate doesn't actually mean profitability. So one thing lacking here from AlgoPro is the fact that there really is no proper backtest. You can't see if you took all these trades whether they'd be profitable or not. You can look at the chart like I'm doing and say, yeah, this kind of eyeball it, and you can say, yeah, this looks pretty good. On the left here, when AlgoPro said buy, it did go up. When it said sell, it did stop out here. Buy, nice win, sell, nice win, buy, nice win, sell, nice win, buy, nice win. So you can tell that it's not just like crap, right? You can tell that this works to some degree. And it says it works 51% of the time. And hopefully the winners are bigger than the losers. But that's definitely a downside to AlgoPro, is you don't get the full story. Whereas with Infinity Algo you do. So I did this in my last video, and I'll leave a link because I don't want to cover it all again. With Infinity Algo, and I'll just put Infinity Algo up here. It's awkward switching between these two. This is Infinity Algo. And now Infinity Algo has a backtesting system, which is much more, it's just more thorough than AlgoPro. So you actually can go into the indicators in here and pull up the Algo Infinity backtest. So like here, so Infinity Algo, you can backtest it, and it actually gives you the profitability, so the profit factor, and you can actually look at different time frames. And I went through all that in my last video, so again, I'll leave a link. It's called Infinity Algo Part 2, Backtesting. And so in terms of winning on the backtesting, there's no contest. Infinity Algo definitely wins because it has a whole system dedicated to that. So that's kind of the backtesting thing. Like, honestly, Infinity Algo is better when it comes to backtesting. So if you want one that really gives that feature, Infinity Algo wins. In terms of pricing, AlgoPro used to be very competitive. AlgoPro used to be, I think, 149 was the best it got, or 112 it even dropped to with a discount code for lifetime. But now it's up to like 300 because they've released this version 1.4 and done a lot of changes. So in terms of pricing, AlgoPro is nearly 3 times what Infinity Algo is. So Infinity Algo is about $100 for lifetime. So that's kind of like the pricing, the backtesting. So Infinity Algo is cheaper. It's only $100, which is a total bargain for what you're getting. AlgoPro is more expensive now, but they keep chopping and changing with their pricing, so it might end up back to $100 or $150. Who knows? They keep changing it up, so it's impossible to tell. So that's in terms of like the pricing, the backtesting, the signal accuracy. Like I said, it's very difficult to compare, but we can do kind of an eyeball test, which is nowhere like scientific enough to really determine this, but it's the best we can really kind of do. So if you set them both to their default settings, so we don't mess with the sensitivity, we basically compare the signals that the Algo's programmers think are the best for the 5-minute chart on SPY that I've got them both set to, and we can compare them just by basically overlapping the two like this. And so again, the AlgoPro is these small rectangles. So this is AlgoPro, this cell is AlgoPro, this buy is AlgoPro, this buy is AlgoPro, the sell is AlgoPro, and this buy down here. And then the bigger boxes, like this smart buy, this one up here, the smart sell here, the smart buy here, that's Infinity Algo. And so in my last video I talked about the frequency of the alerts being different for the two, and you can see in this case they're actually kind of similar. You've got a similar number of alerts for both AlgoPro and Infinity Algo, and that's because they're on both on their default optimized settings according to the programmers. So the comparison here, the first thing that I really notice is that Infinity Algo tends to be a little slower off the mark, right? So you can see that AlgoPro, this signal right here on the bottom left, AlgoPro got in earlier on this buy signal than this one, which is the Infinity Algo. So you'd have made more money on this one than you would if you'd gone with Infinity Algo. So AlgoPro, and you see this over and over again, AlgoPro is catching the moves a little bit better with these optimized settings. Again, Infinity Algo hasn't even alerted in this upswing, and AlgoPro's caught it nicely. The two overlap on this one. You can see there's an AlgoPro and an Infinity Algo. Both caught this sell really nicely. But again, AlgoPro is in here earlier than Infinity Algo. So you can see AlgoPro is catching the moves earlier. Again, the sell signal on the right here, catching the move earlier before Infinity Algo gets it almost at the bottom here. Again, on this last signal here, AlgoPro is coming in just a little bit earlier. So it's definitely getting a little bit more accurate. The only thing with AlgoPro is there was this one loss signal right here where it did stop out. See this little stop loss thing here. So yeah, it's pretty interesting to see. So if you're looking to catch the moves a little bit earlier, it looks like, just at a glance on this time frame with all default settings, AlgoPro is a little better. And so you're sort of sacrificing early entry and price, because AlgoPro is more expensive, for basically Infinity Algo lagging just a little bit but it's fairly significant in some things. Now, you could switch to manual and try and optimize this. If maybe it's not optimized, maybe the default settings are not optimized for, Infinity Algo. But when you get into that, then it's getting harder and harder to compare the two, right? So this again is default settings to avoid any confusion on that. So you can see the problem, the difficulty of comparing these two is pretty high. Like, it's not easy to figure out what exactly this thing, like how to compare the two. I always get asked this question, which one is better? Lux Algo, Algo Pro? And the answer is really they're all different. And so if you're desperate for backtesting, Infinity Algo definitely wins for sure. It's got some really nice backtesting going on. Lux Algo, by the way, also has some good backtesting, although I found Lux Algo signals to be less accurate and the backtests were less impressive than Infinity Algo. Anyway, let's not bring Lux Algo into it. It just gets too complicated. So that's on the 5 minute. We can do a similar thing on like the 3 minute chart. So we switch to the 3 minute. We'll just pick the whatever pops up on the screen here if it loads. Taking its time. There we go. So let's switch off this one. So this is Algo Pro. You can see the signals have generally worked fairly well. Not quite as accurate in this particular region. You can see we had a fake out here, kind of a fake out here, although there was a profit target reached. This buy worked out really nicely, kind of a fake out on the Algo Pro here as well. So in the 3 minute chart in the same region, we're definitely seeing some more fake outs with Algo Pro. Again, default settings. If we switch to Infinity Algo, you can see it's not much better though, right? Like, so Infinity Algo doesn't have any signals in this area. Then it has kind of a signal that you'd have to hope you could actually catch. Let's turn Algo Pro off here. So if we go to Algo Pro, it's so difficult to get these. This is Infinity Algo in the 3 minute on its default settings. You can see it did catch this really strong buy. This sell though, you might have hit profit target 1 down here, but then you'd have stopped out on the rest of it. And again, this one here, you would have probably made some money on this move. So you can see there's only 3 signals there. If we switch to Algo Pro alone, there's more signals, but there's more fake outs as well. So how do you compare this? Without proper backtesting on both to compare the backtests, it's impossible to compare. And with this backtest on Algo Pro, this isn't good enough. We're saying there's a win rate of 71% on the 3 minute. Sounds good, but you can see like sometimes the losing trades could be bigger than the winning trades, right? So you could take a bigger loss on this buy signal than you make on this one. This one is bigger in this case, but you see the problem. It's really difficult to compare these two algos, and there's really no way to do this unless Algo Pro introduces full backtesting for version 1.4, where you actually get to see all the details. And let me show you what that looks like. So if I go to Infinity Algo, I'm just going to get rid of Algo Pro at the moment. So I'm going to go to Algo Pro, I'm going to remove it. I'm going to remove Infinity Algo signals, so the chart's bare again. And I'm just going to put up the backtesting for Infinity Algo. So you saw what the backtesting was like for Algo Pro, and it's really unimpressive in terms of like overall profitability. But if we go to Infinity Algo's backtesting, dedicated backtesting program right here, pull that up, it gives you a proper chart, right? It gives you proper numbers over 29 trades here, and it gives you 51% profitability, which is fine. Profit factor 1.3. This is what the numbers that we'd look to compare, but unfortunately Algo Pro version 1.4 doesn't have this information, so we can't look at the last 30 trades on Algo Pro version 1.4 and get these exact numbers. Not just, it gives you this number for one of the profit targets, but it doesn't give you a profit factor or like a net profit. So it's impossible to compare in terms of signal accuracy, which everybody wants to know, right? They always want to know which one gives you more accurate signals. It's so difficult. And one point I want to make here is with these algos, if they only profit 50% of the time, a lot of people are not going to be able to sustain that even if there's a profit factor that's over 1, so in this case 1.3, because a few signals that lose in a row, people will just give up. And of course, with only a 50% probability, then there's going to be signals 2 or 3 in a row that fake you out and you lose money on. And you have to stick with it in order to get to the same results as the backtesting. So an actual profitable strategy. So I hope you guys like realize how difficult it is to compare algos like this. It's almost impossible, just due to the fact that these things have so many variables. And hopefully that's helpful. I mean, hopefully you can kind of see at least what you get for your money, so you can compare the prices. You compare the fact that AlgoPro doesn't have proper backtesting included in the system that I can find. Maybe it does in one of the other versions, but in terms of like the version 1.4, you're only getting that little table that comes up on the bottom right down there. So overall, you got to make a judgment for yourself. It's hard for me to say like this one's better for you. You've got to make your own judgment. I don't put a lot of weight in the backtesting, and that's just because I use other indicators in terms of like I don't just follow the strategy blindly, because that's very difficult. Nobody can sit there and take every single trade. So I actually scalp like 10 or 15% on the buys and just ignore the exits, whereas the backtesting obviously includes the exits. So sometimes I do a lot better than the backtesting, just because the way I'm trading them with 0 DTE or 1 DTE options, just using the entry signals and not the exit signals. Anyway, hopefully that's of some use to you guys. Like, hopefully it kind of shows you the differences between Infinity Algo and AlgoPro, and I'll talk to you soon.